President Biden took a hard fall on Thursday while at an event in Colorado Springs. It happened after he gave the commencement address and handed out diplomas at the U.S. Air Force Academy. Seemingly, the president tripped over sandbags securing a teleprompter and was quickly helped up by military and Secret Service personnel. The White House stressed the president did not get hurt. However, every stumble or wobble receives heightened scrutiny now that Biden is the oldest U.S. president ever at age 80. Joe Biden's predecessor and potential 2024 foe, former President Donald Trump, responded with concern when he learned of the incident.
He just fell on what stage?
He's down at Colorado Springs doing that commencement.
He's at the Air Force Academy.
Yeah, fell on stage.
He actually fell down? Well, I hope he wasn't hurt. I hope he wasn't hurt.
Tom Fitton of Judicial Watch tweeted this: I hope President Biden is uninjured from this fall, which dramatically and further illustrates his age-related cognitive and physical challenges. Former Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey tweeted this: open the Democrat primaries and debates. This isn't fair to anyone. Tim.
Mike, a heavily redacted batch of messages released by the National Archives on Wednesday indicates that first son Hunter Biden advised then Vice President Joe Biden's office on a state occasion involving China and a trip to Africa, the New York Post reports. The emails cast more doubt on Joe Biden's blanket denial that he ever discussed his son's overseas business interests. Three entirely redacted emails with the subject line referring to a China lunch have apparent connections to the Chinese President Hu Jintao's January 2011 state visit to Washington, the Post reports. Three other emails pertain to Nairobi ideas ahead of Joe Biden's visit to Kenya in June of 2010. The emails were acknowledged, but when requested through a Freedom of Information Act lawsuit, they were, quote, withheld in full, citing an exemption from release for confidential communications requesting or submitting advice between the president and the president's advisors or between such advisors, end quote. One day before the emails were sent, Hunter's business partner, Eric Schwerin, emailed the then second son referencing a Chinese state dinner 2 months in the future and suggesting who to invite to the traditional VP Secretary of State lunch, filling the seats beyond the 22 allocated to then Vice President Biden. Greg?
All right, let's talk with the National Senior Advisor from FreedomWorks Parents Knows Best Education Initiative, Tamara Farah. Tamara, welcome to Victory News.
Thank you for having me.
Well, it seems every day new information comes out about the Bidens. So how much longer do you think the corporate media will flat out ignore the facts surrounding the failed policies and alleged corruption?
I'm going to just hit this head on. Biden is a puppet. And frankly, he can be manipulated by this socialist Marxist agenda. I told you I was going to hit it head on. That it has taken hold in America. Remember when Obama said, none of us can ever forget when Obama said that he wanted to fundamentally transform America. This is what globalists want to do. I believe we are seeing the next generation of that. And we see that in our schools as they sexualize our children. I'm going to just tell you this historical fact. Hungarian Education Commissioner Lucas used this technique in 1990. In order to raise the next generation as Marxists, they sexualized children and separated them from their families and their faith so they could become activists for the cause. Again, this is hard-hitting to say it, but we have to be bold and take a hard look at what's really happening under this administration.
Okay, let's go with your statement there. He's a puppet. Who's the puppet master? Do you know? Or your thoughts?
Well, some believe that Obama is involved in that, previous administrations, various, I believe, influences worldwide, World Economic Forum. We see the ramp up with United Nations and the global organizations. I think we're yet to see more come out about this, but we certainly don't see him making his own decisions.
Yeah, okay, interesting. I've heard that before, and I found that interesting. Thanks for hitting that head on. Now, Planned Parenthood has been forced to reduce its staff nearly 15%, thanks in large part to the reversal of Roe v. Wade. So is this progress?
It is, but there are still great concerns. So those who believe in life are obviously celebrating. We are celebrating the end of Roe, but that battle is far from over. There's good news in states that have banned abortion altogether, too, Arkansas and Alabama, and near bans in Idaho, Kentucky, Oklahoma. But honestly, one of the biggest concerns after Roe are abortifacient pills. So this is something that we have to really work hard on. And also, I would just like to throw out a pitch for those who are in unplanned pregnancies to be bold and to be courageous to carry that child to term. There are nearly 2 million families and individuals waiting to adopt children. We are the parents of adopted children. And for 9 months of sacrifice, you can give families a beautiful life.
No, that's great. Thank you for reminding people of that. Now, you tweeted a picture that said Teachers Union told the LA Dodgers students could die if drag queen nuns weren't reinvited to Pride Night. Now, suicide is a serious problem. The rates are increasing among teens and young adults. Are you seeing that the threat of suicide or death is being used as a manipulation tactic with trans communities?
I absolutely do. You know, now is the time to ask why our kids are being sexualized in school. I mentioned that earlier, and I told you where I think it's headed. I believe it is causing them great mental confusion and duress, and so do experts. This Marxist agenda of separating kids from family and faith through sexualization. So it seems to have come upon us suddenly in the last few years with the Biden administration's, Biden did an executive order created a White House toolkit on transgender equality. The Department of Education openly supports sexualizing kids and promotes Pride Month and LGBTQ. We have left behind the purpose of school, which is to educate the next generation. And I'm finally digging down and finding the why. And I really do believe it's tied to this Marxist agenda.
I believe you're probably right. Sadly, I believe you're right on that. Yes. But at least now we know, right? So how can we find out more about Parents Know Best?
ParentsKnowBest.com, and we just would love to help any parents out there that are fighting these battles in school. We're here to support you and resource you.